ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
We see an order from our sorority and from the school. We weren't planning on having anything big here.
Residents react to a cease and desist order placed on their homes in the college area. The county is cracking down on Halloween parties to stop the spread of COVID-19. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura is in the college area with what some of the students are saying about these warnings.
Some of the residences that received the cease and desist notice say that they understood. Others were confused, saying that they weren't going to throw any kind of gathering. A crew from the county visited 8 addresses in the college area, putting cease and desist notices outside the homes. 6 have ties to fraternities and sororities. According to the county, the addresses intended to hold large gatherings Halloween weekend, but some of the residents at the locations told ABC 10 News they had no plans to do that.
I don't know where this came from, where this information came from, but it's all completely false, and you guys feel free to take videos all night long, but there will not be people coming in and out of this house.
I just think it's interesting that we haven't been throwing like any kind of parties in any way, and we weren't even planning to, and they just dropped this off for no reason.
A county spokesman says they were alerted to the events by San Diego State University and then confirmed through social media that plans were being made. Dr. Wilma Wooten, the county public health officer, issued a statement that read in part, "We were compelled to take this action because there is a great deal at stake. Let me be very clear, the region's livelihood hangs in the balance and is directly tied to our individual and collective actions. We are on the brink of moving to a more restrictive tier." SDSU has a stay-at-home advisory in effect through the Halloween weekend. The university also issued a statement supporting Dr. Wooten's comments, saying in part, students should not be hosting or attending parties and should not be attending any in-person gathering that is not in compliance with public health directives. Some who got the notice said they understand why the county issued the notices.
I don't think it's unfair, but I mean, it's just very unfortunate that this happened with us being in college, trying to enjoy our prime years or anything like that.
Failure to comply could result in a criminal misdemeanor or a $1,000 fine. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Well, here are the latest coronavirus numbers. The county reported 471 new cases today, bringing our total to 56,300. There were also 3 new deaths, bringing that total to 888. And new developments on a Team 10 investigation into a federal jail that's seen a large number of COVID cases. 2 weeks ago, we profiled the Metropolitan Correctional Center downtown, where more than 300 inmates have tested positive for COVID. And now it appears another jail is seeing a jump in cases. The federal defenders tell Team 10 the jail operated by the GEO Group downtown submitted 286 tests yesterday. 56 came back positive, 114 negative, and 116 are still pending. Today, another 221 tests were submitted. They are all still pending. There's also been concerns raised about how long it's taking detainees to get an initial court hearing and staying in jail for longer periods of time.
Phase 3 clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccines will resume next week in San Diego. This comes after both AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson halted their studies to find out why some participants became ill. Researchers at UCSD, which is participating in both trials, say pauses are common, and they're a sign that the safety review process is working as it should.
Part of the reason we want people to understand that these are common is they will probably occur again. These are large trials. AstraZeneca, 30,000 people, Johnson & Johnson, 60,000 people.
After a trial is paused, an independent board reviews the issues to determine if they are related to the trial. In these cases, the issues were not related. The AstraZeneca study will start Monday. Johnson & Johnson follows on Tuesday.
The CDC has a grim new forecast predicting 250,000 Americans could die from COVID by Thanksgiving. The U.S. topped 9 million confirmed cases today. The nation also broke a new record, reporting 92,000 cases just in the past 24 hours. Health officials in Wisconsin are warning their hospitals are just weeks from running out of beds in the hospitals.
Our COVID unit that has 3 wings, we were using one, we're now using all 3 of them.
In Chicago, an effort to curb the virus by banning indoor dining is facing backlash. El Paso residents are also outraged after a judge ordered all non-essential businesses to shut down in the city for 2 weeks.
4 days to go. Both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden both campaigned in 3 states today, holding dueling rallies in the Midwest, but with very different messages. As ABC's Alex Perche reports, the president is focusing on the economy, Biden on Trump's response to the virus.
Emblematic of how the pandemic has transformed this election, former Vice President Joe Biden began today in Iowa, a state President Trump won by 10 points in 2016. It now has one of the highest COVID-19 rates in the country.
Donald Trump has waved the white flag. He surrendered to this virus. But the American people don't give up.
Biden making that his closing argument. The two candidates stumped across Midwest battlegrounds, Trump in Michigan, and then both holding events in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
We love you. We love you.
No social distancing and little mask wearing at any of Trump's rallies.
Mr. President, do you think it's at all dangerous to be holding these big rallies while the numbers are going up here?
No, I don't at all, no. And they're outdoor rallies. They're all outdoor. Anything else?
The president instead focusing on the economy while making light of the virus.
We opened it up. And now we're at a level, I used to talk about the V. This is a super V. If you get it, you're going to get better. And then you're going to be immune, and it's a whole thing, and it goes away.
But the country's hit a dire new record, 92,000 new cases in a single day. Hospitalizations and deaths also going up. Now, like Iowa, polls show there are other once reliably red states that are more purple. Arizona, Georgia, and Texas. Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, spent the day there campaigning. Vice President Mike Pence was in Arizona trying to hold ground. And 4 days out from Election Day, worries we might not have final results Tuesday night. This year, there's been a massive increase in mail-in and absentee voting due to COVID-19. In some states, votes are counted even if they come in days after the election, if they're postmarked by Election Day. And 8 states don't even start looking at those mail-in ballots until Election Day. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
And San Diego County just hit a historic election year milestone. Over 1 million voters have already returned their mail-in ballots tonight. This is according to the County Registrar of Voters Office. It says at the same time during the 2016 election, only around 442,000 early ballots were received. There are 1.9 million registered voters in San Diego County.
For those who are voting in person, polling places across San Diego County will open tomorrow. And like everything else in 2020, voting in person will look very different. Multiple safety measures will be in effect throughout the process. Voters must wear masks. If they don't, they will be taken outside to a separate area. Registrar of Voters Michael Vu says they are working closely with law enforcement to make sure voters feel safe.
If we see that there is any level of campaigning or electioneering that's happening within 100 feet of our polling locations, our site managers will be out there.
Starting tomorrow, people can vote in person at 235 super polling locations around the county. Those locations will be open from 8 to 5 tomorrow through Monday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Election Day. ABC 10 News is your source on election night. We will have all live, wall-to-wall coverage on streaming devices, including Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and your smartphone. To watch, download the ABC 10 News app or go to 10news.com for the latest on all of the races that matter to you.
New at 11, one person is dead after a crash involving a U.S. Postal Service truck in Vista. A 10 News viewer sent us this cell phone video moments after the crash. The Sheriff's Department says this happened in front of the AT&T store on Vista Village Drive. The U.S. Postal Service confirmed with us in just the last hour that one of their letter carriers was involved in a crash in Vista around 7 p.m. No word on how the person was hit or if there are any charges for the driver.
I don't know how I'm going to carry this on with my life. Like, I've cried so much in this past 72 hours.
We are learning the identities of some of the teenagers involved in that crash earlier this week in Mount Hope. 3 of the 4 boys were killed. Police say the driver refused to pull over for an officer who ran the plates of the car. ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo spoke with the parents of 3 of those teenagers who are still trying to understand what happened.
Deshaun Hurd and Daniel Montaño are two of the three teenagers that died in this crash in Mount Hope Tuesday night.
It's been a nightmare.
Dwayne Hurd is Deshaun's father. His son was only 15 years old.
He was a good kid. You know, he was real outgoing. He enjoyed being out with his friends.
Daniel Montaño was only 17 years old. His brother Julian Montaño was also in the car that night, the only one that survived.
I keep wanting to wake up and like go back to sleep and wake up and for everything to be back to normal.
Rose Montaño is the boy's mom. She says her son Julian, just 15, is in ICU. Doctors forced to amputate one of his legs, undergoing multiple surgeries.
What I miss the most about Daniel is his loving heart, his positiveness, his enthusiasm.
The crash happened around 11 Tuesday night. Police say an officer ran the car's plates and noticed it was reported stolen. The driver ran a red light, refusing to stop. Police say the officer lost sight of the car, but the helicopter followed. The driver lost control, hitting a tree and a light pole. None of the three boys were behind the wheel. Both parents say they still have many questions for police and wish their kids had stayed home that night.
Not knowing or thinking about the consequences. I wish I would have been there to stop them.
Choices they made, they had to, they had to pay the consequences.
Both families set up GoFundMe pages to help with the boys' funeral expenses. You can find that on our website, 10news.com. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.